If today's game were to have a lesson, it would be to always know your threats on your opponent's team. You need to know what is going to be a threat early on, otherwise it's going to give you a hell of a lot of trouble later. But what's up, guys? I got Monday's game going on. It's an RU match against a guy by the name of CunninEdge, no G, I believe, or maybe that was just a typo. I don't fucking know, but we'll just call him Edge. So Edge is going to lead with a Primate. I'm going to go ahead and lead off with my my Medicham. I know I can take any one hit from it just because I have the resistance to fighting, which is its only stab. U-turn will do a lot. It's going to be neutral though, so just leaves him kind of whatever. And it turns out to be a crit too, so that kind of sucks on top of things. You know, crit right on top of the first turn. But there are crits back and forth here and there, so they kind of even out. But this is a new set of mine. This is a Trick Choice Band set, I believe. So I get the lefties off of the what is that? Cafagragus. I get it off the Cafagragus, and I'm going to go ahead and switch out to Magmortar, actually predicting the Will-O-Wisp. Now, if he wants to go for an attacking move, he can, but it turns out he just goes for the Will-O-Wisp. And now I know he definitely has to switch unless he wants to take a Flamethrower. And it's because of that fact that he's going to think that I'm going to go for a Flamethrower that I'm going to switch out to my Modem, predicting his Lantern to come in, and I do get that right off the bat. So we're looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and go for a sub just to dodge the T-Wave, Toxic, Confuse Ray, whatever he wants to go for. Scald's not even gonna break my sub, not even close. So the thing is here is, what do I want to do? Do I just want to go for a Leaf Storm right off the bat? Do I want to predict him switching out? I would have thought that he would have just wanted to break the sub, and I figured, you know, Leaf Storm is my best move, so why the fuck not go for it? Even if a Sceptile wants to switch into it, I still have my sub up, and I would still be able to probably finish off the rest of its HP with an HP Fire, pending damage calcs or anything like that. But I still have my sub, and Lantern's gone, so we're looking pretty good. But he's going to go ahead and predict my switch since I have a sub. Or no, not since I have a sub. What? No, I don't want to switch because I have a sub. He's going to predict my switch just because I'm at -2. I want to see whether or not my HP Fire can break this sub. And it still can, which is pretty cool. It does at least 25% just because it's super effective. So that tells him, hey, you're going to have to break my sub before I do anything about it. But he's actually just going to go ahead and switch out, decide to go into his Sigilyph. And now I know right off the bat that I definitely have to switch because I do not want this thing setting up Cosmic Powers, Calm Minds, anything of the sort, whatever it wants to do. It's just not going to be good. But then again, I don't really feel like I have too much of a wasted sub just because of the fact I'm at full HP now thanks to lefties. So I'm going to go into Magmortar, actually predicting the Psycho Shift. If he wants to go, well, I predicted the Psycho Shift because he has the Burn Orb, the Flame Orb, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But he starts boosting up on Cosmic Powers. I still figure that Magmortar is pretty good in terms of the spec attack department, and a T-Bolt should still do a pretty good amount. As you can see, even after +1, it does probably like 70%. And, you know, that second Cosmic Power isn't going to make it to the point where this won't kill. So I'm just going to stay in, go for it again. If he wanted to predict my switch out, he very well could have. Doubt that crit mattered at all. I do get one that matters later for sure. It's coming around the corner, I think. But he goes into his Gligar, now knowing for a fact, well, maybe not necessarily, but I'm choiced. So that's kind of what's going on. But go into my my Sandslash, and I believe I try to go for a Super Fang here just to get some damage off since I have Earthquake. And no, I set up my rocks. Okay, that's cool. Super Fang would have been nice, but I don't really see how Stealth Rocks are going to help too much at this point on the rest of his team. But going to go ahead and switch out, go into my Medicham potentially as Death Fodder, or I don't know what else he's going to want to do. But it turns out he just goes for the Earthquake. That is, it's okay too. So, would have liked it if he went for something else, so I could have smacked him with an Ice Punch, but hey. So, it gives me a safe switch and a Rotom, which is pretty cool. I am believing that I'm going to go for a sub just based on the fact that he probably only has Earthquake to hit me, and I'm probably going to be faster anyway. I'm also going to sub again on this Primate just to see what it's going to go for. If it goes for a U-turn, that will break my sub and give him switch advantage. But if he just goes for another move, I'll have a sub up, and then that leaves me free to go for a hit on the next turn now, knowing what he's locked in on. Since he is more than likely Choice Scarf. We don't really know that at this point, but hey. So, go for a sub right here as he turns out into his Sceptile. And I believe I'm just going to go for an HP Fire right here. It's a pretty easy play to make. What does he do? I don't remember this exact turn right here. Every other turn I'm fine. This turn I'm just like, nothing. Okay, so Fagrigus comes in. I believe I'm just gonna go for an HP Fire, and then at that point I'll probably just go for a Leaf Stone and see if it kills it off. Just because, you know, he's not boosted or anything like that. He's switching in on it. HP Fire doesn't really do that much at all. It's unstab, it's on everything, unsuper effective on everything. And I don't know why I went for sub right there. That was really stupid. Thinking that might have been a misclick, but knowing me, I had the weird thought process of like, oh, if I go for a sub when he goes for another move, yeah, that'll work out. And then it doesn't really work out. But honestly, in that kind of situation, that really looked like a misclick to me. So that's okay. We're now going to go out into my Bouffalant, as I do predict the Shadow Ball in order to break my sub. If you want to go for the HP Fighting, that would have been pretty interesting too. But second Shadow Ball incoming was a little obvious, so I'm going to try to meet middle ground here because I believe I have Earthquake, Head Charge, and Mega Horn. And Mega Horn will ensure that I hit something, either Cfagrigus or Gligar, even though it's for not that much. But if I really did want to predict the switch, I could have gone for the Head Charge. But in all honesty, Cfagrigus did have a better footing there than I did in this situation. But he's going to go for an Earthquake. As you can see, it really doesn't do too much at all. And I'm going to go ahead and go for the Sword Stance. Just to go ahead and push his shit in next turn. And if Cfagrigus wants to switch in, a +2 Earthquake doesn't really sound like a fun day for it, if you ask me. But he goes for Toxic as I go for a Head Charge. Now, I get a critical hit here. I'm not 100% whether or not this actually ends up mattering, especially with the Sword Stance up. If I was Life Orb, then I would think that it wouldn't, but I'm not, so maybe it does by some small extent. I know that thing is really defensive, but that's +2 and stab and all that shit. So, now here is the turn where I don't really assess this thing properly, and I switch my Sand Slash in to take a hit that it doesn't really need to take yet. It was at full HP minus a little bit of rocks damage, and I didn't really think too much about this turn for now. I was like, oh, I took a close combat, I can probably take another one. That's fine, you know, I'm not too worried about it. But it's the fact that now my Sand Slash isn't at full HP and it doesn't really have any means of recovery that I'm just not really paying too much attention. But I don't believe I switch out on this turn either. I'm pretty sure I just try to go for the Rapid Spin, which is really stupid. I was just trying to preserve it so my Magmortar could come in safely and do some things. But now I'm beyond the point where I can live a close combat. And in case you guys aren't looking at the rest of my team, nothing else on my team really wants to take a close combat. That's kind of something I overlooked when I tossed this kind of thing together. So I'm probably going to have to put some more things that can handle Scarf Primate. Because as of right now, I was doing pretty good the entire match up until I realized I had to take this thing out. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to get my shit pushed in. That's straight up how it's going to work. Because Scarf Close Combat will wreck this thing. Scarf Close Combat, actually Scarf has nothing to do with it when it comes to Sand Slash. But Sand Slash is now at the range where it can be taken out to a close combat. Magmortar now, thanks to the Stealth Rocks damage, I'm not sure whether or not I can live it. If I blew him away, maybe I could have, just because it was Scarf and not Bandit or anything like that. And I'm really hoping I'm not overestimating Magmortar. And I was kind of hoping for the Flame Body right here too. That was like my last attempt at saving grace, but that's not gonna happen. So got myself a Sand Slash right here that, you know, after a little bit of Stealth Rocks damage, you saw how much the first close combat did. The second one, there was no hope of me living it, and that's where me switching into that hit I didn't need to comes in. I didn't recognize how big of a threat that thing was gonna be, and because of that, I should have left Bouffalant in to die to a close combat. That way it would have had the lower defenses and things like that, and I probably could have taken it out with an Earthquake later on. But as you can see, he's just mowing everything down, pun somewhat intended just because of the Rotom on the field. But he really is taking everything out, and it's pretty unbearable. But I go to my last, which is my Archeops, and I believe he either runs out of close combats or he has one left and he just didn't want the game to be that boring. But whatever the case is, he gave me a pretty interesting turn right here, which is that I hit this thing with an Acrobatics, and my ability goes from Defeatist to Mummy. The fact that I have Mummy isn't interesting. It's the fact that I lost Defeatist, which means that if I'm now below half HP, it won't really matter what I do. And then he just kind of switched this thing in just to try to go for the kill with this thing. What the fuck was I talking about earlier with Archeops? Oh, now that I don't have Defeatist, I don't get my attack halved, you know, when I'm below half HP. So this Acrobatics probably would have killed anyway, but now it's just like super fucking killed. But he very easily could have gone in and just killed me off with Primate just because it has Ice Punch, so that kind of thing. And yeah, that's the game. I got my ass handed to me. I was doing pretty good up until this fucking pig boar thing with fists just reared its ugly head, and then I realized at this point, I need something to handle Scarf Primate, because that's the game. I had a lot of pokes, and it just took them down one by one with its ugly, meaty, pig-faced fists. Ugh. What a hand-fisted attempt at a joke. Ha ha! Oh my god. Anyways, if you enjoyed this game, you're welcome to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. That will do it for today. If you're watching this game, I will probably be streaming immediately after, or while you're watching it. I don't know. Really depends on when I feel like it. But I do feel like streaming today of all days. A Monday. Go figure. Anyways, see you guys later.